I was listening to this interview with John Maxwell the other day, and he's wrote a new book on communication, and he was kind of talking about that. And one of the things he said, which I thought was really valuable, and I thought that some people may need to hear it, was he said, I had to decide early on whether I was going to work on it or whether I was going to wing it. And he said, in his early days, he was actually a pastor at a little rural farm church, and I forget which state it was in, but it was somewhere like Indiana or somewhere like that. And he said the people just loved me, and I had a natural talent at speaking and communicating. And he said, so I kind of figured out pretty early on that I could get away with really just getting up and sharing some scripture and sharing a story or two and an illustration. And he said, and they would all be, everybody would be happy about it, and everybody would enjoy it. And he said there was some time in there where he felt like, you know what, I could really just kind of wing this thing. There's not a whole lot of pressure on me to even get better at this, or they're satisfied. And he said I had to make the decision, like, well, am I just going to wing it and just get by, or am I going to really work on it and put the work in that it deserves and get better at this? And I think I thought that was really good, and I think that's can easily be a temptation for us. It can be a temptation. It's been a temptation for me before, but you may be in a position, whether it's a pastor or some sort of church leadership position, where you're really good at relationships, and so people really love you. Or it may be like you're thinking to yourself, hey, if they get rid of me, like who else is gonna come do this job? And so we start letting these thoughts get into our minds, and we think we don't have to work as hard, or we don't have to put as much effort into it. And so I want to encourage you to not just settle for winging it, but actually work on it, consistently trying to get better at whatever it is you do, whether it's communicating or whether it's leading in a ministry, whether it's being a Sunday school teacher, whether it's being a worship leader. Don't get satisfied, don't get complacent, but consistently think through, how can I get better at this? Because what we do is vitally important, and so we shouldn't take it for granted.